We've got big plans for the small boat. We're learning as we go. So come along, we'll teach you stuff as we go building Windpuff.
So we have the port side completely gutted of the salon. So this is all gone. And I got a little worried because when I kick it, it reverberates in a way that I just felt was a bit much for... I didn't expect it to move as much as it did. So that's all. So I got a little worried, hey, what if I gut the whole boat out, which is my plan? Will the hull distort and then not be good? And then I have to fix the hull as I build it back. So to avoid having that issue, I called some people that know what they're talking about. And yeah, not the best idea to gut the whole thing all at once and then go building it back up. The second thing, while this boat doesn't have the structural members that books say it should have, the books also are calling for a much thinner hull with that structural setup. We have a little more than double the thickness that we need to have at a minimum, and then we don't have that whole structural setup. So we don't have frames, we don't have ring beams, we don't have or ring frames, we don't have as many bulkheads as the books say it should have, we don't have all the floors that the thing says it should have, but we also have a much thicker hull. Now, I'm not a naval architect, so that's it. If we don't match the book, I can build to the book, but I don't know how to calculate what less it could be and still be okay. Now, obviously, when they're building this thing, they built it to be the thickness that it is, and then less structural members inside, because the hull itself being thicker is therefore stronger. Where this comes in to our build, we're going to be changing a lot of stuff, as you guys know. But in stripping all of this, we might then run into issues simply for the sake of putting parts in that aren't actually necessary. So I talked to James from Adam Voyager because my goal was to gut the whole boat. That way I could then run stringers running fore aft, bow to stern, the whole way through. And it turns out those aren't actually necessary. So what he does is in long unsupported areas, kind of like this area, you have a couple. But then you get to a bulkhead, the hull's really strong, it doesn't need it anymore. So you don't have to run the whole shape uninterrupted. Second thing, the furniture that you use to build the hull, or to build the interior, can also be the structural members that you need. So in our case here, we had, this didn't really do much. We had a shelf above, we had the seat below. That right there acts as two stringers running this length. So you have ways that you kind of get around it. And then down at the floor where the salon settee comes down to the bottom of the boat, that's a third stringer. So there are stringers, they're just not a stringer. It's the furniture of the boat. So what we're going to be doing is planning out, okay, what is the honeycomb structure that we're going to have for cabinets and everything else, and then have the salon interior on that. So it changed a lot of the stuff because I hadn't thought about what was my interior going to be, because I was just in the process of, okay, we're gutting, we're taking it out, we'll worry about that part later. Well, suddenly, later became right now. All right, we got the port and starboard salon stripped out and cleaned out completely. Now, I've been talking a lot with our patrons to try and figure out what are we going to do for the interior, because now we know that we're not going to gut the whole boat and then rebuild it. We need to gut it and rebuild it at the same time, which means we need a plan. And I honestly didn't have a plan because I was kind of thinking that was a later problem. Like a problem for later me, not a problem for me right now. Turns out it's a right now problem. So we need to fix that. This is where all the decisions of what goes where and what gets cut out, what doesn't, that all changes. Came up with some ideas, talked over with a bunch of the patrons, and we've kind of worked out some ideas. So what we're doing is we're modeling the interior layout based on other boats that also have good layouts that are of similar size, because if it works in them, why can't it work here? One of them that's like awesome is a 24-foot Beneteau. tons of space, tons of sleeping area, like an excellent use of space, and it's trailerable, which means it's the same beam as this boat. Because so many boats that have wonderful interiors have 2 to 3 feet more beam and therefore more space to have an interior. This sucker is a teeny tiny boat. So, back in the day they made them long and skinny, and this guy is not very long, so it's very skinny. So the idea, you come in from the companionway, head. This area, pretty much where that first window is, that area becomes the head. The galley then can run from this first window, like this gap, all the way up to the original bulkhead. That means we get to reuse the bulkhead. So all we do is strip it down, clean it, fix the tabbing. So this is one of the bulkheads in the boat, and the tabbing, like the bulkhead doesn't really meet the hull, and there's no filleting or anything. It just goes in and then actually comes back. It makes an acute angle, and that's the worst thing to have. What this really should be is the bulkhead comes along, there's a fillet here, and it's a nice gradual curve out onto the hull. So this is really weak. So I'm finding stuff like that all over the place in the boat, which is why we're taking it apart. So if we keep a bulkhead, we grind all this out and then do it proper. Now I also have the issue where stuff will be kind of peeling apart. Like it's old. It's had a lot of years, and this boat was built for the Chesapeake Bay. We want to take it out into the ocean. So yes, it's perfectly fine to keep sailing in the bay, but we want to go a little harder than that. So that means that we need to beef it up. Where it gets complicated is if I gut the whole hull completely, it could distort. So we need to keep some of the bulkheads in place until we get other ones in to replace them. And it starts to become a juggling act. It would be really easy if we keep a bulkhead, don't touch it, don't move it, and then just clean it up and put it on again better. So I'm trying to do that as best we can. And we might be able to do that with this bulkhead right here. So if we have head, galley ends at this bulkhead. And then further forward, the head can come away. The head's like in this tiny little area. We get rid of the head, and then the bulkhead ahead, we also keep that. And we just move the door from being in the very middle, because the mast is going to come through there, and have the door come from the side. So stuff like that. The only bulkhead we would then be eliminating would actually be this one. And that would give us an additional 19 inches. That's a lot of space in a tiny boat. That'd be an additional 19 inches for a berth over on the starboard side. So we could then have, so we got to flip some stuff. We'd put the V berth on the port side, the salon berth on the starboard side, and the quarter berth on the starboard side, and then the head on the port side, which is opposite of what I've been planning this whole time. But the reason it all comes down this way is because then we could keep this one bulkhead here and the main bulkhead forward. We could keep those 3 bulkheads in place, or 3 halves of a bulkhead. We just ditch one, build a ring frame, and call it a day there. So we'd have to build like half a ring frame and then another ring frame for the where the head's going to go. So that seems really promising. So I'm really excited. When I cut everything out this time, I didn't cut it as aggressively. When I cut on the port side the first time around, I went as close to the hull as I could. I took it off. It's gone. Now the issue is we have no stiffeners on this side of the hull right now because I took them away. On this side, I left them. There they are. So I cut close, but I left a bit of wood. That way it would have some form of a stiffener in the meantime until we get to that part of the construction. So the hull's got a little bit of strengthening to it. Not very much, but some. And that simply means that the boat won't flex or oil can or distort or all those horrible things while we're in the construction process. So next thing is pretty much finalize the design with Maddie. And then out here, we could then strip all of this paint off, get down to bare fiberglass, and then start building the bulkhead for the head. Lastly, the cabin sole needs to come out. Now that I'm going to do last because I'm going to replace it with a giant water tank. So apparently from James from Atom Voyagers, he finds that you get about 57-ish gallons in the cockpit sole water tank when you take it out and make it a water tank. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing, because if we get, say, at least 50 gallons out of there, that is awesome. That's a lot of space. That we're going to do last, because that's going to be a matter of cut the cabin sole out and then start glassing in the baffles for the tank, which will also act as floors to stiffen the hull, and it'll do its job. Now, the reason to keep the cabin sole in the meantime is, one, it gives me a perspective on where the floor of the boat should be. And two, I have something to walk on while I'm working, because this boat has a very, very deep and narrow keel, or bilge. So it's not the best walking surface. I think it's time I invest in a full face mask. Thanks to everyone who pitched in with a whole bunch of ideas for layouts and, I want to say floor plans, but layouts for the interior for the boat. Some of them just made me cry inside because they were so beautiful and I could not do them. And then a bunch of them were spot on useful. I mean, boats that are pretty much the same size, that have amazing interiors, and just looking at it like, okay, how can we use that, or how can we use parts of that to make everything go? So from all of that, we now have a general idea for how it's going to go, and the most important part is we're going to put a head right when you come in on the port side. There'll be a standing head, separate shower and head, and then forward of that will be the galley. On the other side we'll have a berth plus a quarter berth, and then the forward is going to be a pilot bunk, or pilot berth? I'm tired. A double bunk on the port side of the hull, and then the birds can be on the right side, or the starboard. So that's the plan there. And then, also port quarter berth. The head makes us lose the starboard quarter berth, but I would much rather a very nice head than two quarter berths that are tiny. So that's where we are. We may or may not be putting, call it like loft sleeping area under the hard dodger. But you throw some pillows out and someone might be able to take a nap there or sleep or whatever. But it'll be like a cozy place that you can have 360 visibility. So if you're on night watch and it's cold and wet and windy and all that, you're comfortable. But if we're anchored and we need an extra place for someone to sleep, stick someone up there.
Thanks for watching this episode of Sailing Wisdom. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next Rigging Doctor episode. And if you're interested in even more Rigging Doctor awesomeness, consider becoming a patron to see all of our extras. Can't wait to see you next time as you join us out here on the high seas.